Let's review our Sunday school lesson for today. We are in the winter quarter for December, January, and February of 2022 to 2023, entitled Chosen, Not Choice. We're looking at God's calling that is rooted in grace and not us as humans deserving it. We are in our last unit for this quarter, unit number 3 for the month of February, and it is entitled God's Call and Its Righteousness. And in these 4 lessons from the New Testament, it helps us with a reminder that God's call on our lives does not take regard to our past. Our lesson for today is lesson number 12, February the 19th, 2023, entitled The Rich and the Poor. And our printed passage is James chapter 2, verse 1 through 12. Let's continue in this thought of being called by God. For in our text today, we're reminded that there's a worthy call that is on our lives. And that worthy call is to love our neighbors as ourselves. That's the call. And not only to love our neighbors, but even those who may be poor, those who may be a little worse off than we are, and those who may not have the resources or blessings that many have in this life. We are called to love even them as Christians. The rule of thumb, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. There's an example given to us in James that is very important for us that we ought to think about for a moment. There's an example, 2 people walking to service. The first person is dressed nice, looks good, has on the bells and whistles, top to bottom, look great. And James says when they come in, you give them the best seat in the place. Tell them to come in and sit here. But then he says there's a second person that walks in who is poor, has on dirty and filthy clothes. And you put them in 2 of the worst type of positions. Either you put them behind everybody or you put them beneath everybody. And the Bible tells us that we are not to be respecter of persons. We are told by the Bible not to judge one another. For if we do, we sin. So there's a fault there in us saying that we love our neighbor as ourselves. But when somebody comes into the church, in this example, there's prejudiceness, there is judgment, biasness, because the one who dressed good could be a devil, and the one who may be looking poor and dirty in our eyes may be the most honest. But we have, on the outward, we have judged them, and we have become respecters of persons, and we have not loved our neighbor. And because we have broken that law, we sin. We sin. And so the gospel message is not for us to be respecter of persons or to judge. The gospel message is to save everybody. John 3:16 says it like this: for God so loved the world. That include everybody in the world, not just some select few. That whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. He wants to save, not to judge or to be a respecter of persons. And just on a side note there, aren't we all in a place to be thankful to God that he does not judge us, and that he is also one of those type of gods that does not have a respect of persons? Because for many of us, we wouldn't deserve his salvation. But he did not judge us where we were. He made the relationship right through atonement through Jesus Christ. And because of what he has done for us, and we know how he did not judge us and how he was no respecter of persons to us, that we would be saved even as non-Jews were saved. and we fall under that category. If you're not a Jew, you're non-Jew. But he died to save all of us. And so we fall under that category, to be thankful to God that he does not judge us and that he is not a respecter of persons. And so we should share that same heart of the gospel with those who we share that message with. We shouldn't judge them. We should not be a respecter of person. After all, God has called us to a holy calling, that we will be worthy and follow what he has told us to do. Let us, even as members of the church, even as members of God's family, let us judge and walk worthy, even as Jesus gave us the example, that we might bring glory and praise to God and honor this worthy calling that he has given unto us.